I am only addressing authentic, true, benevolent beings who are being forcibly remote neural monitored, mind raped, forcibly tortured with frequency weaponry. Along with other tortures and being forcibly raped. If you're here to try and rape information with the intent of forcing magic and or doing magic on it, on that information and or myself, you don't have my consent and you can fuck off. If you're here to try and steal ideas or concepts for your next podcast, you can also fuck right off. There are very, very few, less than a handful, of true benevolent beings speaking on these same topics. And I've been speaking on these topics for years. And most of the other ones speaking on this topic have unethical, immoral, and evil intent in doing so. I don't consent to forced magic of any kind in any form from any source in existence, to be forced on any level, dimension, or timeline of my being, at any time for any reason. I don't consent to being harmed or raped. I don't consent to forced cloning. I don't consent to forced technology. I don't consent to forced obstruction and or interference of any kind. Move along. I think there's a real problem in this place that, unfortunately, tragically, many have Stockholm Syndrome. This place is a parasitic farm run by parasites, animated, dead entities that do not belong in manifested creation, nor does the technology. Animated dead parasites in manifested creation is a contradiction. And it means something has gone terribly awry in the real universe that has yet to be corrected. That kind of contradiction and degree and magnitude of wrong must be corrected. And if it is not corrected, this place called planet Earth, and most likely the real universe, is on a trajectory of implosion, as that level of contradiction and insanity is not sustainable. There cannot be animated, dead parasites running amok in a manifested creation with and or in the same space as alive, vibrating beings. There must be correction. The reptilians have worked hard to force technology and cloning in this place to try and deceive universal laws and try to obstruct evolution in not only this civilization, but most prior ones. With the amount of evidence and obvious effects of what they have tried to force here, it is astounding that the majority, or I'll just rephrase and say seemingly many, still don't understand what this place is. They are not understanding that this is a parasitic farm and that they are being raped and farmed. And have been for many civilizations. Humanity is on a trajectory currently that is quite tragic. One really has to start asking the right questions. Why are there animated dead parasites in manifested creation? Why have they not been terminated by the real universe itself? The technology in AI systems. You have to ask yourself, what powers those? And how is it that the real universe has not terminated the technology and the entities that have been running it? How many civilizations have the reptilians, along with their little minions and helpers, have they murdered, raped, stolen from? The technology, the reptilians, the occult groups, the archons and demiurge, the demons, are all in violation of all universal laws a gazillion times over. Benevolent beings in this place have been screaming for many lifetimes and many years. How is it that the real universe has not yet terminated the parasitic infection and the technology? The benevolent beings who have made it through the gauntlet intact and working hard to enforce correction here and terminate the parasitic infection. Have yet to be truly benevolently assisted by the real universe. The reptilians are using the technology to try and obstruct universal laws and universal law manifested correction here. They have been forcing cloning. They have been trying to rape benevolent beings of things that they have no business trying to rape. And with their forced interference in universal laws and evolution, the universe itself should have already terminated the parasitic infection and destroyed and removed the technology. How many beings in how many other civilizations were trying to do the same thing? Why were they not assisted? And knowing what the reptilians are forcibly engaged in here, and have been engaged in this place, and the atrocity and horror that they have tried to force on humanity. Why has there not been yet true benevolent intervention by a larger benevolent force? I mean to say, they are trying to the things that they are trying to force on humanity, and there has yet to be true benevolent intervention. Humanity as a race is quite large. So one should ask, if they're trying to do this, trying to do those things to humanity, what happened to the true benevolent beings outside of this place? Those who are being forcibly targeted and tortured and raped understand the challenge that it is to be in constant battle, and are aware of the abhorrent fuckery that the reptilians try to force. So what have they done to true benevolent beings outside of this place? How many other places are they engaged in the same kinds of operations? Can the universe itself just not discern between fake and real? Is it just so confused by technology that it's having a hard time discerning what actions to take? As there are those of us here who know the truth of things, know what they are attempting to force here, are aware of the abhorrent fuckery and attempted rape, then the universe itself should not have any problem figuring things out, as there are those of us here that have already done so. Which only leads me to a couple of conclusions. Either the universe is in on it, complicit and corrupt as fuck, or it's just so fucking stupid that it can't figure anything out. It's not a universe I want to stay in, I can tell you. If the universe itself is corrupt and complicit, which it seems to be, because it doesn't seem to be assisting benevolent beings here. That's, again, not a universe I want to stay in. Not a place I want to stay in. I didn't sign up for this shit show. I didn't. There are many, if not all, that didn't sign up for this shit show. There shouldn't be animated dead parasites in manifested creation. And if you know what they use to power the technology, that should tell you right off that, again, that shouldn't be going on here. That technology is not allowed here. That technology is in violation of all universal laws, along with the entities trying to force it. So what does that tell you about the real universe? Why hasn't the real universe terminated those entities and that technology? Especially when they are using the technology to try and forcibly obstruct correction here and evolution and universal laws. What did the universe do about all the other civilizations that the parasites did their fuckery in? There's still an artificial frequency fence surrounding this place. They use forced frequency overlays on the true energetic field, which are comprised of lies. They're trying to obstruct evolution. They're trying to deceive the masses. They're trying to deceive universal laws. Is the real universe just not getting it? Can it not discern the difference between artificial and real? Can it not hear the screams of the benevolent beings here? Really? I think it's imperative that the benevolent beings here ask the right questions. It's a parasitic farm. We need to all be trying to figure out how to get the fuck out of here. Especially if the universe is complicit and corrupt. There has yet to be true benevolent intervention from a larger force. What does that tell you? They go to great lengths to try and interfere with universal laws and manifested correction here. They go to great lengths to force the technology and cloning. They try to trap humanity. They try to rape from humanity. That technology and those entities should have already been terminated by universal laws, as well as the real universe itself. There's clearly interference and obvious obstruction of universal laws and manifested correction here, because those fucking demonic whores are still here. And are engaged in the most abhorrent, vile shit. And they don't have humanity's consent. They don't have the individual's consent. They are fucking parasites. The only thing that comes out of their vomit holes are lies. They're dead. They're entities. You can't reason with them. You can't bargain with them. You can't appeal to a nature, a benevolent nature, because they don't have one. It's a parasite. It's using humanity as a host. What does this society do with rabid creatures? There's only one thing that you can do with the rabid creature. The parasitic infection must be terminated. Do you want to stay in a universe? If the universe has sided with parasites, I mean, up to this point, the universe itself has yet to hold the parasites to account. Is it still going to hold true benevolent beings to account? Look at the horrificness they're engaged in. And they're still running amok. I mean, you know, that just looking at that says volumes. The real universe must correct. Maybe it made some really nasty choices early on. Maybe it's a young universe. You know, there's probably a lot of variables there. Nonetheless, it should be assisting in the enforcement of universal laws. It should be assisting the benevolent beings here in the removal of the parasitic infection and the termination of the technology. And it has yet to do that. I don't think any true benevolent being would consciously choose a parasite farm. I think many benevolent beings here have been refusing consent, demanding to leave, demanding the stop of all forced technology and clones, and demanding that all forced mind rape and torture stop. They are dead entities that should not be in manifested creation. Therefore, they do not have reason nor justification of any kind to be trying to do any of it. I think that they have forcibly used technology to try and deceive and con prior civilizations. And because they have been using the technology to try and rape things that they have no business trying to rape, that somehow they have been trying to use those. So I think it's important that benevolent beings be asking the right questions. To find the right answers, so that right action can be taken. I think righteous anger and righteous indignation must be high, and expressed by the true benevolent beings here. They're parasites. They don't belong here. They don't have any kind of justification nor reason to be trying to torture, rape, and harm, or trap. Nor forced cloning. Or forced mind raping. All that shit's gotta fucking stop. They're parasites. They didn't do their work. They didn't do their shit. They didn't do what they were supposed to do. They fucked up. They didn't fix it. They have been parasites, the reptilians and all the occult groups. The reptilians' little minions that they try to use to do their nasty. Didn't do their work. They didn't do the right thing. They didn't fix their shit. So now they are parasites. Parasites don't belong here. Demons don't belong here. The AI does not belong here. Their right place is non-existence. They're going to love it. And I really think it's time for the benevolent beings here. The true, authentic benevolent beings here. To be demanding the full enforcement of universal laws and demanding universal law manifested correction here and remedy, and demanding the removal of the parasitic infection, including the demons, archons, and demiurge, and demanding that the real universe be held to account. I think it's imperative for true benevolent beings to be facing the truth of things. What this place is, and the actions that they need to take to get out of here and shut this shit down. It's a parasitic farm. That's what this matrix is. It's a parasitic farm. It must be fucking terminated. They don't have humanity's consent. And we know what they use to power the technology, which is in violation of all universal laws. The technology has to be terminated. This matrix has to be terminated. The parasites must be terminated. They do not belong here. True benevolent beings really need to be on the same page of what this place is and how we're going to get the fuck out of here. Especially if the universe itself is corrupt. It's unsustainable anyway. It will implode under the weight of its own insanity and contradiction. It would be nice if the true benevolent beings here didn't get stuck in the facade. The theater. It's fucking lies. It's a parasite farm. Everything that comes out of their vomit hole is lies. They're using technology to force frequency overlays over the true energetic field that is comprised of lies. Like, it's... True benevolent beings are going to have to really face the truth of things and come out of the facade. This shit's got to be fucking terminated. They have to be terminated. The technology's got to be terminated. Benevolent beings have to get the fuck out of here. They're dead. They shouldn't even be here, let alone trying to rape inherent parts of beings. They don't have humanity's consent, and they don't have individual consent. It's time for them to go. It's time for the technology to go. And it's time for the true benevolent beings to be moving forward in their evolution. So, hopefully, true benevolent beings here can find it within themselves to stand in their power, their own organic, authentic power and authority, devoid of parasites, devoid of technology, and demand the removal of the parasitic infection, and demand removal of the technology. And demand that the real universe be held to account. Because if it's not going to if the real universe is having problems holding animated dead parasites to account, well then that means true benevolent beings are untouchable. By any parasite or demon or technology. And they're dead already, so they don't have any reason or justification for anything that they've been trying to do here. Yep, so hopefully true benevolent beings are asking the right questions.